Have you ever had that feeling that there's a more powerful, more successful version of yourself just hiding inside, waiting to get out? Well, today we're cracking open Tony Robbins' legendary book, Awaken the Giant Within. We're going to boil down its most powerful ideas into a super clear, actionable explainer. Let's get right into it. You know, this quote really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? It's asking a pretty fundamental question about your life. Are you the one shaping your destiny, deciding exactly where you're headed, or are you kind of just rolling the dice and leaving everything up to chance? For so many of us, there's this huge gap between the life we dream about and the one we're actually living. We've got these massive ambitions, right? But then we get bogged down in the day-to-day grind, the frustrations, the routines. Tony Robbins has this incredible metaphor for this. He calls it the Niagara syndrome. Imagine we all jump on this big river of life, but we never actually decide where we want to go. We just kind of go with the flow. We get caught up in whatever's happening, whatever the current fears are, until one day we look up and realize, oh man, we're 5 feet from a crisis, Niagara Falls, and we don't have any oars. And this is the core message of the whole book. You don't have to be a passive passenger on that river. At any single moment, you have the power to just grab the oars and completely change your direction. But the big question is, how? How do you actually do that? Let's find out. Well, the answer lies in the single most powerful tool you have to change your life, and I mean literally in an instant. It's got nothing to do with your circumstances. It's all about mastering the power of a true decision. And check this out. What's so fascinating is where the word decision actually comes from. It's from Latin, and it means to cut from. So a real decision isn't just, oh, I'd like this to happen. It's not a wish. It means you are literally cutting off every other possibility. You're committing 100%. Just think about quitting smoking for a second. Saying, I'd like to quit, well, that's just a preference. It leaves the door wide open for failure. But when you make a true decision, when you say, I will never smoke again, that's it. It's done. You've cut off the alternative. And that right there, that's the difference that changes absolutely everything. And the ripple effect of just one decision like that is massive, and it's immediate. It can totally transform your relationships, your health, your finances, even just how you feel every single day. And that power, it's already inside you, right now. Okay, so what's actually driving these decisions in the first place? Let's pull back the curtain and look at the invisible engine that shapes every single choice you make, whether you realize it or not. At the very core of all human behavior is a surprisingly simple principle. Everything we do, I mean everything, is driven by these two twin forces, the need to avoid pain and the desire to gain pleasure. These two are the masters that govern our lives. So here's the key takeaway. Once you get that everything you do is just an attempt to change how you feel, you can take conscious control of the whole process. You can stop being pushed around by old habits and start strategically linking massive pain to the things you want to stop and incredible pleasure to the new habits you want to build. All right, so we get the power of decision and we know about the forces of pain and pleasure, but how do we put it all together to create change that actually sticks? Well, the book gives us this incredibly powerful 3-step action plan. Okay, first, you gotta raise your standards. This is all about turning your shoulds into musts. It's drawing a line in the sand and deciding what you will no longer tolerate from yourself. Then, step 2, you have to find and obliterate your limiting beliefs, those invisible stories you tell yourself about why you can't do something. And finally, you have to change your strategy. I mean, if what you're doing isn't working, you have to find a new way, maybe model someone who's already succeeded, and just keep adjusting until you get the results you're after. Now, to see just how unbelievably powerful that second step is, changing a limiting belief, let's look at one of the most famous and inspiring examples in all of human history. Look at this number. For thousands and thousands of years, experts, doctors, scientists, coaches, they all believed that running a mile in under 4 minutes was a total physiological impossibility for a human being. It just couldn't be done. But then, on May 6, 1954, a man named Roger Bannister completely shattered that limiting belief. And think about what he did. He didn't just break a world record. He broke a psychological barrier for all of humanity. And here's the truly incredible part. In the 2 years after he proved it was possible, more than 300 other runners also broke the 4-minute mile. His decision, his belief, it changed what was possible for literally everyone. And, you know, these tools aren't just for fixing problems or putting out fires. They're for being the architect of your own life, for consciously designing the future you truly want and absolutely deserve, starting right now. So let's make this real for you. Let's start with that first lever. What new standards are you going to set for yourself, starting today? What is something that you will simply no longer tolerate in your health, your career, or your relationships? And now, think about that second lever. What's that one limiting belief? That story that you're not smart enough, not worthy enough, not capable enough, that you will make a true decision to cut off forever, starting right this second. And finally, instead of just drifting down that river, let's think bigger. What is that compelling, exciting, vibrant future that you will commit all of your energy to creating? What does that life look like? What does it feel like? Because ultimately, it all comes down to this. Every great achievement, every broken barrier, every transformed life, it all starts with a dream. The giant within you isn't asleep, you know? It's just waiting for your permission to awaken. So, what will you decide?